Now, though, in the 21st century world, have sexism and misogyny become more acceptable? From music videos, advertising and video games to social media, some people are concerned that a new culture is developing in which men seem to think they can speak to and about women in an abusive and derogatory way. Others, of course, argue that women should not take harmless comments so seriously and just accept that this is how things are in the modern age. Well, on BBC Two tonight, Kirsty Walk explores both sides of this argument and looks at the role of humour, the internet and lads mags, and has a look at the part they have played in the perception of women. Well, Gaby Hornsby is the producer and director of Blurred Lines, The New Battle of the Sexes, and joins me now. Good morning, Gaby.
Hi.
There's some quite shocking examples of this in tonight's programme, aren't there?
Yes, I mean, we're definitely looking at the more extreme end of what's going on. But they aren't isolated examples. I think that was what I felt doing the research for the programme and putting it together. There are so many other examples that we could have included. But yeah, there's some pretty strong language and some pretty strong imagery in the programme.
I mean, the programme itself is called Blurred Lines. I imagine that's because of the Robin Thicke song Blurred Lines, which was very controversial, although it has also been named the UK's most downloaded song of all time. So what that says about the world in which we live, I don't know. I know 20 university student unions, in fact, banned the track outright, saying that it promoted a date rape culture. I should say that's an accusation that Robin Thicke, the man behind the song, has consistently denied. I've got the lyrics here in front of me, actually. I'm not really sure whether they're suitable to be broadcast at just gone 10:15 in the morning. But the thing is, though, Gaby, I mean, much has improved for women. I mean, you know, I'm sure my life would be unrecognisable to say my grandma's. So what do you think is fueling this new growth of misogyny, if that is what it is?
Well, I certainly think there's no denying that women have many more opportunities now than in the past, and things on some fronts are going brilliantly. I mean, if you look at girls' academic performance at school, for example, so we certainly wouldn't want to suggest in the programme, and don't try to suggest in the programme, that, you know, it's nothing but doom and gloom. But I think that there are some interesting things going on, and certainly some people in the programme, like Germaine Greer, the famous feminist, and also Martin Daubney, who edited Loaded in the 90s, both talk about how women's success has caused, for some men at any rate, a degree of anxiety and confusion about their role in the world.
What, because they feel intimidated?
Because they feel intimidated, they're not quite sure. You know, there's been gender roles were in place for centuries, and there's been a massive change in the last 50 years. And certainly both, I think, interestingly, because Greer and Daubney come from quite different perspectives, but they both talked about how they thought that women's progress had caused, for some men, as I said, a degree of confusion and anxiety about what it meant to be a man.
Well, as you say, there has been a huge shift. I wonder, though, are women also perhaps to blame for this because of their failure to challenge some of this misogynistic humour that we see? Or should really women take it on the chin and not take these harmless comments so seriously? Is it just a bit of fun?
Well, that's sort of an age-old question and a difficult one to answer. I mean, I think we wouldn't want to sort of prescribe how, you know, any one person should respond. And it's very difficult with humour, for example, to say what is and what isn't acceptable and what you can and can't joke about. Humour has obviously, you know, historically played a really important role in breaking taboos and pushing boundaries. That's sort of part of what it's about. But what was interesting was we looked at some research that was coming out of the States and had in fact been replicated in the UK, looking at the impact of sexist humour on listeners. And something that came out quite consistently was that men who are already sexist, so already have hostile attitudes towards women, when they hear sexist humour and they hear the laughter of others, they feel empowered and validated in their views and much readier to behave in sexist and misogynistic ways in the immediate aftermath of those jokes.
Oh, so it's a self-fulfilling prophecy almost.
Well, I think it certainly seems to make some men feel that they could behave in ways that they would otherwise suppress. And so that if you're not sexist and you're not misogynistic and you laugh along because you think you're being ironic, then what you could inadvertently be doing is supporting sexist views on the parts of other men in that group.
Validating what they're saying. Very interesting. We look forward to watching the programme. Gaby Hornsby there, producer and director of Blurred Lines, The New Battle of the Sexes. That is on BBC Two tonight.